Welcome back to As It Turned Out, hosted by your favorite CU sophomore, Pananika Maruna. This is the podcast about the messy, beautiful process of figuring it out as we go. We're not here for perfect paths. We're here for moments of doubt, the big pivots, and the quiet wins that don't make it onto our LinkedIns. We're talking about what it actually looks like to grow, adapt, and to make your own way, one unexpected move at a time. Let's get into it. Okay, well, thank you for coming on my podcast. I'm really excited.
It's my pleasure. I've been looking forward to this.
Awesome. Okay, so when you were first starting out, what did you imagine your career might look like?
Yeah, it's a good question because it's changed a lot. When I first started out, I was full of personal ambition. I really wanted to get on. I wanted to get to the top of whatever I was doing. I was very competitive, I guess.
Yeah. Where did you see your career kind of going? Like, what was the road you wanted to go down?
I think when I joined Intel, that was a big shift because until that point, I'd worked for some pretty sleepy, unambitious. Well, I wouldn't say that's probably not entirely fair, but it was really at Intel where that ambition and wanting to get ahead really caught on fire because that was just like the company. And, you know, Intel was like one of the best places in the world to work. The stock price was just on fire. The results were great. There were tons of opportunities. So I just wanted more. It was like intoxicating almost. It was like, great, give me more. And I got promoted. And then I got to the next level, then the next level. And it was like, wow, you get more money. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And then after a number of years of that, and maybe growing up and you know, you go through the school of kind of ups and downs. And yeah, I think I sort of mellowed out and started to sort of look for different kind of things. There was a big shift in my leadership from a me focus to a we focus.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that also shifted in terms of what I wanted to achieve. Initially, it was all about me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a shift really to be more about us collectively.
Yeah. I know that you worked at Intel, was it 25 years? Around 25 years?
25, 26, something around there.
And you worked in like a variety of leadership roles. What kind of kept you inspired to grow and like learn even though you already were leadership at Intel?
Well, the nice thing, and I was chatting to another former Intel person the other day, and we just had the opportunity to just keep on growing into different roles.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fantastic. I mean, I started in finance and I moved into IT. Now, I didn't know anything about IT really. I was interested, but I didn't know anything. And then I moved into procurement. And then I moved into strategy. And then I started doing HR work. And it was pretty amazing. So that was a great thing about that was a really great thing about Intel was the opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know you worked at Intel for a long time. So what kind of inspired you? What was the moment that you realized it was time to pivot or change paths to starting Oyster?
Yeah, it wasn't like a moment. It was a 2 or 3 year period.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sort of started to feel like I wanted to do my own thing, you know, and I was kind of in a job where it was a good job. It was a fun job, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I started to like get the thought about running my own company, and that was sort of exciting. And And then Intel has been going through a whole series of reductions, and I had just qualified for their retirement program, which I really wasn't very old. I think I was 50 years old, and just because I'd worked there a long time, I qualified, and they offered me a year's salary to leave the company. So it was like, and here's what I did. I said, if I don't leave now, I never will. So now's the time to go. And that's essentially what I did.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Kind of through that, I know that you like transitioned into coaching. Do you want to talk a little bit about what Oyster does?
Yeah. So what I do as a coach, or what we do really, is we help leaders really scale their leadership. The big shift for me was I used to be what I would call a me leader.
Mm-hmm.
Everything would go through me. I've ratified everything, set the direction. So I was the bottleneck. And this is so often the case for all kinds of leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And what my coach taught me was how to lead through others to be able to expand and increase my impact. And that's essentially what we do, is we help leaders in all kinds of roles and walks of life really identify their barriers, their limiters, and help them get past them, remove those limiters to be able to scale and grow their impact. And it's fantastic. I mean, I love working with different people. They're really inspiring. They're doing amazing things. And it is so rewarding seeing them grow.
That's awesome. Is there something that you will tell leaders to help them not only just like perform better, but think differently about leadership?
Yeah, I think it really is helping them recognize that their job really is different.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get promoted into a role because they're really good at something. And then somebody says, hey, Panonica, you're really good at whatever it is. You should lead the department.
Yeah.
You're great. And then you still work in that same way of you're good at something. So you become the chief doer, the chief widget maker, or chief whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that works for a while, but then everybody starts to rely on you, and everybody starts to bring you their questions. And at first it feels really nice. I'm like, wow, I'm helping everybody. And then you're like, whoa, I haven't got any time to do anything. People are just bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
Then you end up working longer and longer. So what I help them realize and think differently is, yes, they're brilliant as a surgeon, a shoe designer, a semiconductor wafer designer, an engineer, whatever it is, that's not their job. Their job is to work with the people around them to help them basically create a bigger impact.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, that's maybe not what they want. And they go down the specialist role and they become like a expert at whatever. Fantastic. And then other people, they love it and they just thrive and they become fantastic leaders. And you know what? People love to work for them. And in every company, I'm of a belief that there are people that everybody goes, whoa, I want to work for them, because they're great leaders.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know it must have taken like a lot of experience and a lot of time to get to the place where you are now, where you like are able to coach so beautifully. I'm wondering if there was ever a moment in your career where you really felt like things were off script, and like how you kind of got back into the flow and realized how to like get direction again.
Yeah, I had a big career stumble, is what I call it. And probably for the first 10 plus years at Intel, my career was one where I almost felt like I could do no wrong. I was getting promoted. I was getting great pay raises, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is fantastic. There's no limit to this. And I grew beyond my leadership capability. I was still a solo leader. It's all about me. I became the bottleneck. And I just wasn't very effective.
Mm.
So my boss's boss said to me that I had nothing of value left to offer the company, which was pretty crushing.
Yeah.
So luckily at that time I had a coach. I just started with a coach, and he helped me basically, first of all, see a different way forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to earn back my credibility. But it took a long time. I got to say, it was painful. There was a lot of resentment. You know, I rebelled against some of the things that leader was doing. I was sort of undermining them.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like the team had been basically singled out and as a scapegoat for something that didn't turn out great. And, you know, I just became more of a champion for them. And what was great is I had a new boss. My boss got fired. So this is pretty awful. And you know what he said? He said, if you're willing to work to earn your reputation back, I'll be there to support you.
Yeah.
And it was great. So I took this job, which was with this organization that was really struggling, and nobody wanted to do this. It was like being sent to Siberia. Yet the people there were fantastic. They were good at what they did. They just didn't have any leadership. And with my coach's help, that they turned it around, you know, and I grew out of my me leadership into we leadership. And then collectively, we got fantastic results, and some of the best results in the company. And that was kind of the way of then, okay, I'm learning and I'm growing and I like this. And that led me into sort of thinking about, this is what I would like to do.
Yeah. So like that risk motivated you to grow as a person, kind of?
I don't know that I would have changed if I hadn't been like punched in the face.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to just know that I had to change.
Yeah.
You know, and if I'd have just been like just a little bit less successful, but okay, I would have probably continued in the same way. I kind of needed the shock therapy, even though it was painful.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, hey, it worked. But I know a lot of people in that situation that is really crushing. And I've coached people who have been in that situation that it's taken them a long, long time to get their mojo back.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I know you've worked with so many leaders at this point, but what's one belief about leadership that you wish more people knew or thought about when they were thinking about becoming a leader?
Yeah, I think that it's really something I mentioned earlier about the leader's job is to basically bring the people around them along with them and essentially commit to create a shared future that fulfills the vision and takes care of what the leader and those people care about.
Yeah.
And that's a big shift, because a lot of time you think about, let's say, a sports team. We idolize the best player. Whoa, they're great. Wow, they're a leader. They aren't. They are a solo individual. So we in society really value solo success.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is really important in leadership is this collective. That's the key. So that's the thing that I think people need to really realize in leadership.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And I know outside of work, you spend a lot of time doing other things. We were just talking about traveling, and I know you've gone and photographed remote tribes and done all sorts of amazing things. How do you kind of feel those outside of work experiences tie into you becoming a better leader and a better coach and a better just a person in general?
Yeah, it's a good question. And the photography came about just as an interest, but it was really about connecting with people.
Mm-hmm.
And coaching is about connecting with people. So I think there's a really a connection there. And I started to photograph again, and now I do portraits and headshots, and a lot of that is connecting with people, getting them to feel comfortable in front of the camera. And so it's fun. I like to learn. Learning is a big part of leadership, being curious. When you think you know the answer, step back and ask another question. So things like that. And then, relationships, I think, are important. I never used to really appreciate how important they are.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is key, is connecting with people. And one of the things that you'll see on my website is that, I'm part of a brewery group and we visit a different brewery each month. Well, that's more about the social connection side than it is about really drinking beer. It's just nice to have a theme, kind of a fun one, but it's really about connections with people.
Yeah. Would you say the connections you've made with people have really shaped who you are today?
Yeah, I think they've certainly been influential.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I think for everybody, that's very influential. I also think life really is a series of opportunities and events that occur.
Yeah.
And, we take our choices and see where things lead us. So yeah, so there's kind of, I like to play around in different things as well. And that's where I think, opens up different possibilities. And I try stuff, and if I like it, I'll stick with it. If not, I'll probably drop it and go find something else.
That's awesome. Okay, well, kind of to wrap this up, looking back at all the pivots and passions and surprises you've had through your career, was there something you've learned about how things actually turn out? And what advice would you give to upcoming business professionals?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, at Intel, I used to be asked to do a number of career, like lectures or like event talks or whatever. And I
Mhm.
said, wow, I am the worst person to do this because, people say you want to plan your career, you want to go from here to here to here to here. But that's not how life works. I realize now it's like life really is a series of possibilities, of events, and it's okay. Go with the flow. Be in the moment. That's another thing I think I've learned is always about, wow, when I get there, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, I am there. I'm here, I'm here today, and this is the time, not sometime in the future. So make the most of this. And if it's not working, pivot, change direction. A lot of people get hung up with, I have a plan that if I do X, it will lead to Y.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a hypothesis. The real question is it? And if it isn't, you can continue doing the same things and hoping for a different outcome, which will probably be very disappointing, or you can change the plan.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.